I commend Brother Eusi Kwayana for his prolific writing over the years and for capturing reality through his lens. As social beings, language gives meaning to our existence. And as we strive to make sense of our surroundings and communicate our desires, and of which this history is captured in written words, it advances and preserves the oral tradition of storytelling, often lost through the ages, either through alteration, suppression, or the storyteller passing to the great beyond, that inevitably robs society of a body of knowledge. Thank you, Brother Kwayana, for preserving history through writing, which allows for posterity, creates the opportunity for others to have a window into the past, recall the past, understanding your fine mind and capturing and articulating events and leaving a trail for others to build on. My predecessor in the trade union movement, Polidori, dead and gone, but he has not left anything that we can read from. History is important. Kwayana is doing a good job. When others tell your story and interpret your reality for you, either through denying you expression or demonizing your right to express, they control you. The game is as old as history and still operates today. And it is said, those who without a past cannot understand their present and will flounder around to create a future. In effect, a man without a history is a man without a soul, conviction, and motivation. For he has nothing to learn from, nothing to build on, and this leaves him out in the cold as to whether there is anything he should fight for. Today, too many can identify with this concern as we look at this society where people were once filled with hopes, dreams, and aspirations are deeply committed to realizing them. As I read this book, I was flooded with nostalgia for the good old days when a progressive mind was universally accepted as a productive mind. I also read in this book the oozing pride of a people who are not only workers, but a group who proudly identify with their race, worked together, stood up and fought for the right to self-determination. For them, it matters not that the government of the day was predominantly from their group. What drove them was a passion to secure their inalienable rights. A passion that is today dimmed and demonized in a culture of instant gratification, graft, corruption, and discrimination that have seeped, in fact, into every facet of governance and transfer to society. Since the book is centered around the Bauxite strike of 1971, as a citizen of Linden, a worker of the bauxite industry, an African Guyanese and trade unions, it brings to my experience, as documented by Brother Eusi, all these different parts of me. And it is this experience I want to share with you. From a trade union standpoint, no strike is possible without the support of workers. And at that time, the union in the bauxite industry was the Guyana Mine Workers Union. The struggle was about pension and attendant benefits. The struggle was for serious cleansing of the leadership of the trade union movement. Let me give you an example. These are people who are committed, and if we read this book, we will understand. If we read this book, primarily the statements that are issued by ASCRIA, by the Bauxite Committee, many of the actors who I know, I work with personally, it will tell you that these people were in pursuit of self-determination and not merely supporting a political party. And that's what matters first and foremost to them. The history has shown that the Guyana Mine Workers Union, from 71 to now, has had 10 presidents. And in every case except one, who resigned and went off, they was dispatched with by the leadership, by the members of the union. 10 presidents in that union. In comparison to the sugar industry, where in Gao you have not had 5, you have not had 4. It is a question, it's a point that needs to be taken note, that African people are always prepared to challenge leadership regardless of the circumstances and who you are. And as we fast forward, comrades, into the 21st century, the rights of bauxite workers are under attack. They see their rights at that time as being under attack, and today they still see their rights as being attacked. Inasmuch as there are laws, we never had the 1980 Constitution, but this Constitution now makes provision. Article 147 of the Guyana Constitution and Section 23 of the Trade Union Recognition and Certification Act, which protects the fundamental rights and freedom of workers to join a trade union of their choice, strike and engage in collective bargaining. There has been an ongoing struggle from since 2009 and remains unsolved in the bauxite industry. Those who have followed history of the bauxite, industry would know that while in 1971 bauxite workers fought for their pension and for the respect of their pension and other benefits, they fought for that. The fight in 2002 under this administration to preserve the pension plan that was established in 1971 did not stop the administration from moving ahead and dismantling the plan. What we are doing when Kwayana writes about bauxite strike and old politics, it's the same politics, but some are responding differently, a politics of control. As I read Brother Kwayana's book, I could not help longing for the good old days and ASCRIA, where a body of similar nature can stand alongside a people who today are called racist, if they dare to speak out about their pain and concerns, whose rights are today trampled with impunity, and where too few are fighting to right the wrongs, and often have to confront an establishment and its attendant agents who would openly deny them the foremost right of the right of expression, in spite of the preponderance of evidence or universal definition of their claim. So, Brother Kwayana, brothers and sisters, this book is not only a journey into the past, it opens and lays bare the wounds of a people who oftentimes are made to feel that they are not part of this society, and that if they want to be part of the society, they must accept a second-class position or be the compliant servant of another. It painfully brings home the fact that the fundamental rights and freedoms are no longer universal and respected. The book serves as a painful yet uplifting reminder that when a people are united in their common interests, as in 1971, on universal principles, and are unafraid to stand up to their own in moments of adversity or disagreement, those principles bode well for all involved, including the current society. My hope and dream is that this society read this book, that same serve as an eye-opener for a national conversation on rights, the rule of law, and the willpower of a people to hold government to account. For clearly, this book is still relevant today, as it has aptly demonstrated the successes of the bauxite workers' strike. That it was realized the workers and the bauxite community in Asker were prepared to stand up for their right under the rule of law and hold the government of the day accountable. Thank you, brothers and sisters.
Mr. Chairman,